So I've been learning 3D animation for a little over a month now, and had the delusional idea that I could animate Blue Lock in just 1 week. If you don't know what Blue Lock is, it's just an anime about football, and one that I have happened to have read most of the manga for. So I decided to go with one of Isagi's iconic moments in the U20 match. Okay, so getting right down to business, I need to first model Isagi. I know I could easily just search Isagi 3D models free on Google, but I want to be able to create and learn my own style of characters eventually in the future. And disclaimer, before you say, oh that looks nothing like Isagi, yeah, you're probably right. I'm not very good at modeling or sculpting yet. And also, I decided to try and put the style I've been learning so far while creating Isagi. So once again, like my previous characters, I started off by just blocking the rough shape out and getting a decent enough look to the face where it was passable. I then moved on to quickly retopologizing my model to make it easier to work with when I animate. Now, moving on to the hair. This is where it could be make or break for my character. Because honestly, many anime characters are just copy and paste face features and then just changing the hairstyle. So I ended up with this result that wasn't too bad, I think. I feel like the more you just work on something, the more weird it starts to look. Anyway, now I move on to the clothing, which is relatively simple here, as it's just a jersey and some shorts, with a long sleeve shirt underneath. That was when I realized I was gonna need to actually paint on the details of the jersey, which I have not done before yet at all. So I gave it a shot. And keep in mind, I only still have a mouse, so the line work on any of this was not very good. But as always, I tell myself, it's good enough. Once again, like my last project, I'm not really going for perfection for any of these projects yet, as I still want to learn more about Blender as a software, and all the fundamentals to modeling, animation, and all the other skills. That's why I just want to make as many things as I can, always changing it up a bit from my last project, so I can hope to learn more. With that aside, and the clothes done, I made a shoe for Isagi that I really had no idea how to approach on how to make this at all. So I simplified it quite a lot, but it gets the job done. Then just giving him a quick paint job, making him not look dead. And with that, I finished Isagi in about 3 days. And with 4 days remaining, there's still a lot of work that needs to be done. So next up is animating the scene. So I don't use storyboards at all, which I know I probably should get in the habit of doing, but for this scene, this is how I imagined it to be. Scene 1, Isagi plants his foot and puzzle pieces shoot up from the ground, with a focus on the luck puzzle piece, because in the manga the entire context of the scene was revolved around luck. And then scene 2, camera pans through Isagi in his kicking position, but in a slow-mo. And then scene 3, Isagi is charging up his kick, making contact with the ball. And then scene 4, Isagi kicks the ball with the camera looking right at him, and then the ball comes flying at the camera. Animating in 3D is like playing video games in class. What your teacher doesn't see, your teacher will never know. That's basically how I feel when animating. The only thing that matters each scene is only what the camera sees. And no matter how messed up or scuffed up the rest of the body looks, nobody will ever know. On a side note, I'm never able to animate hair well. It seems like it'd be so easy, but it's so hard. For me, at least. I usually go with the idea of parenting the hair to an object, like a cube that surrounds the hair, and give the cube a soft body physics. And essentially what this does is that the cube will deform the hair a bit to make it look like it's moving with the head or with some wind. But yeah, it never goes as quite as well as I hope it to. After playing with it for a while though, I was able to get a decent enough outcome. While animating these scenes though, I realized in the last scene where Isagi kicks the ball, his hair looks very different in the manga scene. Like it's completely spiked up. And that definitely adds to how cool he looks in the scene, at least in my opinion. But my hair over here looks nothing like that. So I decided I'd make an entire new set of hair for the final shot. And yeah, this is what I had. It honestly did not look that good to me, but I'm on a time crunch, so it'll have to do. Now with the main movements of Isagi done, I needed to add the puzzle pieces. So I watched a YouTube tutorial and edited the movement of the puzzle pieces to fit the idea that I had in mind. And I ended up with this result, which I was actually really happy with. Then I just grabbed one of those pieces and engraved the words luck into it, and then animated that as well. And then to wrap up this entire process, I needed a football. For the first time, it was actually easy to make. Something was easy to make. And then, like the anime, I wanted the ball to match the look. So I just played around with the features a bit, and yeah, that's the football done. Then I also wanted to add a bit of squish to the ball, and almost like a ripple effect that moves through the ball when Usagi makes contact, to show the power of his kick. And then finally, to finish it off, I just added some grass to a couple scenes. And after 2 days, the animation process was done. And now that is a total of 5 days. So with 2 days remaining, it was going pretty well. Until I wanted to achieve a more stylized look to my entire animation. Shaders and the overall materials in Blender can go so into depth, making the coolest looking things, and I wanted that too. But for an entire day, I played with shaders and never got a look I liked. It was honestly one of the lowest points I've had in the time of learning Blender. The feeling of never getting a result you like after spending hours and hours. And even after those hours, you don't even feel like you have a new lead to go off of. I still felt like I was at square one, like I didn't even spend that entire day learning. I had the animation, the character, everything all done. I just needed this final touch to bring it all together. But I couldn't. Until the next morning, where I browsed more online, finding multiple videos on shaders, how to make it look more stylized, and I finally got a shader that I made that I was very proud of. And it definitely came out a lot more stylized looking, and it definitely added to the overall look of my scene. So with 1 day left, I went to sleep and exported the video overnight and brought it into After Effects the next day to add finishing touches. I also realized that it's better to export things individually, so you can composite them better. Essentially, what I'm trying to say is that when having multiple individual assets, it's easier to make the scene look better when you can individually affect each one. For example, if you had a building in the background, that lighting on the building would not be the same compared to a person standing right in front of you. Anyway, after a couple of more hours, I finished my compositing in After Effects. So, in just 1 week, and many hours, and many ups and downs, I hope you enjoy the final animation.
俺のゴールド最後のピースは